Hello and welcome to lesson 3 of the reading analysis. Let's get started right away. The first sentence in this lesson is Simone schaut ihren Assistenten irritiert an. Maybe you already can see a couple of things, so at least we know instantly Simone is doing something and the verb is schaut. Schaut comes from, of course, schauen, and somehow it's, if you have die Schau, is the show. Interesting, right? So schauen actually doesn't mean to show. Ironically, it actually means to look again. So in order to have a show, you need people who are actually looking at things. Yeah. Showing means something completely different, which means zeigen, which more literal means to point at. So, yeah. But yeah, this is how language works at times. We have a lovely, I think it's a mountain, but at least it's a place in the south of Germany, which is called Schau ins Land. So Schau from here, to look into the land. So it's a mountain from which you can look into the land. And that's near Freiburg, which is in the very south. So Simone is looking, and very likely at her assistant, and she is irritiert, and it's very close to the English word irrit, and the iren, yeah, these words, anything that contains iren is very close to English, but doesn't always mean the same. But in this case, I would say it's the same. So she looks at him and is irritatedly basically. Second phrase. Ich habe dich schon beim ersten Mal verstanden. Look at the verb habe, and you might remember with habe, it's always good to look at the end of the sentence whether there is more, and see there is more. So the habe is very often just indicating, oh, we have the past tense, or well, basically that's it. So for the main meaning of the verb, or a verb that actually tells us something, we have to look at the end. And you see at the end there's a verb that has something to do with standing, but the fair means it's in the wrong place. And unfortunately it's not that clear. If you stand in the wrong place, it's very difficult to understand anything. But you see the stand is there, so you have a relationship here between the German and the English word. So I have understood. Yeah, in the past it differs. So, I have understood, and dich might remind you of du, I understood you. Schon beim ersten Mal, we can actually skip for now, let's keep this short. Yeah? Das war eine rhetorische Frage. Well, rhetorisch, you remember, or you might recognize rhetoric, so it's a rhetorical, yeah? So das, you might think it's the, but that somehow doesn't make sense. The needs a noun, but the noun needs to be pretty close to the, so it cannot be Frage. So this cannot be the. Das can also mean that, and that causes confusion regularly. But if there is no noun here with a capital letter, it can never be the. So war is pretty easy to remember. Remember, there once was a war in Germany. Hopefully you remember that. Yeah? So that was a rhetorical, and rhetorical what? What kind of, yeah, you can actually already figure this. Frage means question. Yeah, and if you are my age, you might remember the Fraggles. The Fraggles had lots of questions, which made them so annoying. Oh, the O we can ignore. Stefan wird rot. And always means there's a new sentence, so we separate these. And you remember, yeah, or we don't repeat the subject if it's the same in two sentences. So, werden, in almost no case, is actually translatable, but in this very one case it means to become. But please do not learn that werden means to become. You will struggle because it's only in 1% of the cases that it means that. Well, it's in the text. So he becomes rot, and rot, well, T and D have a strong relationship between, in English and German, red. Rot, red. Yeah? When humans rot, they turn red. Maybe that's a good thing to remember. Just remember it's one T. So, this is a lovely one. Let's get away. Take that away. So, Stefan erzählt weiter. Zählen, the Z and the T, you might see a relation here, means to tell. And also to count. The teller in a bank is someone who counts the money. So in German, zählen means to count. And in French, you have ra, maybe 2C, I don't know, compter. There's also count in here. Yeah? Forgive my French if it's if there's a C missing. But you see count and raconter and zählen. So counting money or numbers and telling a story are somehow related. And you know, give account is another indication for this. So this is indeed to tell. Stefan tells again. We had, no, sorry, not again. I mixed it up with wiedergeben. Careful here. Wieder means again, but weiter means comes from weit, which means wide, which in German turned into far. And actually farther, which then turns further. You see how this goes? Beautiful, right? So weit and ER, you mean wider, farther, which turns into farther, and in this context it has to be further, because it's not a distance. Here it is simply he continues. Beautiful stuff. Ich habe einen Anruf. There's something missing. I'm missing the second verb from bekommen. So we have habe here. Automatically we look at the end and see whether it works. Kommen, you remember. For now we can maybe just think it means to come, which it doesn't. So I have, well, you might even be tempted to say I have become. That's another false friend, so maybe let me clarify this right away. To bekommen simply means to receive. So somehow something has come to you, which is what receive in a way means. Yeah? So I have received. So what have I received? Very often the thing is to be found after the verb. Anruf. The capitalized words are always of importance. So Anruf. What is an Anruf? You might remember Beruf. And Beruf was related to call. And an means simply something that is close to you. In this case, so someone has simply called you with a phone. But I won't translate this here. The Anruf means someone is addressing you with a call. So I have a call. Something office, von means very often from the office, the federal chancellor received. So I've received a call from the office of the chancellor. Yeah, these things are not relevant for now. Seit heute Morgen sind Merkels Möpse, Fix and Foxy is a name, so let's shorten this, verschwunden. Now, where's the verb? There's not this. They are, and with sind and ist, it's also good habit to look at the end, because again we have verschwunden here, and you remember the swindle? The more someone swindles, the more they vanish. Yeah, and maybe the fair and the V here help you to remember that. So, are vanished. And what is vanished? Merkels Möpse. You remember the pucks of Merkel. And seit heute Morgen, if you want to remember this morgen, we had Montagmorgen in the first sentence, morning. Yeah, if it's capitalized, it's morning. We have another morgen with this lowercase, we come to that when it appears. So, morning. So very like this, something like this morning, or seit actually means since. Since heute Morgen they are vanished. Yeah? Don't worry about this, we will talk about this later. Wir sollen herausfinden. That's a lovely word. Sollen is a bit, you don't have to really bother with this word for now. So sollen, a slight similarity to should. Yeah, soll, should. So we should, or we shall, maybe that's even closer. Yeah, or they want us to, like, but we shall find, of course they have been abducted, right? So we shall find them, but it's more than that. We shall find out. Towards. Hear, out, find. So we should find out, you read from right to left, that the information lands here. Yeah, heraus means out towards the speaker. So we shall find out wo sie sind. Now, what is the sie referring to? Wo, is there anything I can help you with? Wo means where. Yeah. Maybe a good rhyme is wo ist das Klo? And Klo from closet. But it has nothing to do with coming out of the closet. It simply means where is the toilet. Yeah, the WC is the water closet. So wo ist das WC, or wo ist das Klo? Wo ist das Klo? Where is the toilet? So wo sie sind. This is always tricky when you have a pronoun. This is called a pronoun because it replaces a name, a noun. So you go back to the last noun. Let's actually do this here. Yeah, and you see wo sie sind. There's no name here, but here we have a name, and the name is Fix and Foxy, which are the pugs. It's not about Merkel, it's the Merkel's pugs. And Fix and Foxy. Yeah? So where they are. To be is highly irregular. You will learn this in the course. Yeah. So sind is not always very easy to distinguish, but you will learn this quickly. It's the most irregular verb, but once you have mastered it, you'll be fine. So before die Polizei, and this is not complete, und die Presse davon erfahren. So now here the und has only the function to add, to combine Polizei und Presse, because they are now the subject, the ones that are doing the action, or that are, in this case it's different. Yeah, let's say they are doing the action. So before even looks like English. So before, in this case it works. Yeah, before die Polizei looks like English. The Police, you see this Police, just the Z turns into C, and the Presse. Yeah. Davon is not relevant. Erfahren. Erfahren, well, fahren, you remember, had to do with fare and driving, but erfahren simply means, it's another word for finding out, but it also means experience. Yeah, before the police and the press make the experience of finding out what is there. Yeah, so find out, erfahren. Very often it means find out. But sometimes if you apply for a job, people want people mit Erfahrung, so with experience. And you can actually see experience as the collection of things that you have found out in your life. And that's a nice way to remember that. Yeah? Beautiful. So they want to take on the case before the police and the press get on it.